I'm Elisa Parker. It is the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. We are based in the historic towns of Nevada City, California, and Grass Valley, California. 22 years. 22 years it has been in existence. It's one of the largest film fests of its kind, and it's always an honor to be here and connect through the Media Lounge with the extraordinary people that come through our town with their incredible stories, including the incredible Chad Brown. This is your third year.
This is my third year.
Welcome, Chad. It's good to have you here with us.
It's good to be here again.
Looking amazing,
Thank you.
by the way. and you also brought your partner in crime, too.
Axe. Yep,
Axe.
I sure did.
Hi,
He's
Axe.
always accomplished.
And your other partner in crime, Anne's here with you as well.
Yeah.
And she's responsible for all your amazing attire, I should say.
She is.
So, Chad, we're going to talk about your film N-Word, but first of all, just in context, I know we mentioned it a little bit on the green carpet last night, but what an incredible journey you've been on your whole life, but really in the last couple of years. National Geographic. Can you tell everyone real quick about that experience?
It was really interesting engagement. The opportunity was centered around being selected and to compete in a survival with your dog, basically, and competing against other folks with their dogs in the backcountry. And so the idea was you get dropped off blindfolded in the backcountry, left to survive with you and your dog had to play a role, not just like a pet or anything. He has to play a role into survival, where a good example, like if I need to carry firewood, my dog has to carry firewood along with me, or if I need to build a fire hole to build a fire, then he has to dig that hole and then I would make the fire.
That's amazing.
And so
have you had that kind of relationship with them like that before?
We have a really close relationship, but that was the first time that we both entered a survival situation together.
Wow.
And we did really well. It was amazing. I had to find my own food. I went 13 days no food, and so I was.
Did you find food?
So I was eating plants from certain
Chad.
leaves, etc. But we survived. And Axe actually saved the day because when I was walking into this wooded area and there was this river coming through, I saw some activity happening in the water, and Axe saw fish happening, and when he looked at it, he dove in and held his breath for like a minute and came up with the landlocked salmon. And so he brought that salmon to the table, and I skinned it and everything right there at the camp, and I had some salmon and Ak had salmon. It was great.
That will sustain you
it
for
was,
13
absolutely.
days out there.
Absolutely. And we won, basically. We won the show, basically.
So, you have been doing so much integrated work, especially with youth. Especially youth who might not have access to the outdoor world, the adventure world, and we both know how much that experience can transform you as a human being,
right?
And your own sense of self. With that experience and your own sense of self, like what was one key part that transformed even how you're showing up today, now?
With all the work that I do, working with the youth, working with veterans, and also with BIPOC communities, I think at the end of the day, what gets me going and what is a success is when I see someone catches that wow factor, that aha moment, and they take that experience and be able to put that into their marching steps and how they enter the world, basically, And so bring it back to your question is like, having worked with the youth and seeing and being with the youth for like 4 or 5 years, it was an honor for me to bring those youth as board members of my organization, and so they play a role into helping making the decisions and keeping me in line in the work that I do as well, and then also seeing youth that gets really inspired off of what's happening on the river, and as they grow, they step into environmental justice and go into become an attorney, and so it's really amazing, and the veterans, that's a different type of experience. It lands different on each veteran, because it enhances their purpose, their mission. Veterans are mission oriented, and so it just enhances their purpose of life, and it engages and also helps into that whole process, that medicine feeding the soul, etc. But
And you're a veteran.
I am a veteran. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much too for your service and everything that you're doing. So how did you take your aha moment from that with all of this, and also apply it to the film N-Word, where it's quite different? So you're working with an individual who's an artist in Atlanta. Tell us more about that and about fly fishing.
Yeah, my aha moment started off with the whole fly fishing piece. It was just a medicine that connected me to the outdoors and a healing process. But as I started to move forward in growing my organizations, it started opening up more spaces where I could be able to extend my platform and tap into one of my first passions, what I went to school for, was becoming a creative professional photographer and going into filmmaking. So that allowed me to step back and to reconnect with my artistic side, and allowed me to start doing more creative work. But this time, knowing that the work that I've been doing around social justice and environmental justice is doing the work about going after and trying to discover the underserved voices in our communities, right? And bringing that to the table and bringing that to the screen. And so as I was out on the river one day and fishing with a couple guys, I looked in the fly box, and inside the fly box there were some really interesting flies I've never seen before. And I said, "Dude, what kind of flies are those?" And the name of the flies was like, "Oh, this is Fat Boy, this is Jimmy Slim, and this is Run DMC." Yeah. And there was all these hip hop. I was like, I've never heard of flies like that. And so I said, well, who's the source of this, and who's this angler, And so they directed me towards the guy in Atlanta, Georgia. And I went out to Atlanta, Georgia, connected with Michimiko Inward, and one thing led to another where I just learned about his story, learned about him as an artist and what he does also as an angler, and how he's navigating through the wilderness as a artist and an angler. And that opened up to the storytelling, and wanted to tell that story. And the most important thing that really stuck out with me was how he goes out and discovers and looks, he basically is inspired with picking up trash in the urban world and brings that trash to the table, and he starts using those trash as fly time materials.
Right. He's walking next to the railroad tracks, and he's an artist too. He's an extraordinary artist. He's
absolutely beautiful artist. His work is beautiful. Yeah.
So that's how he's creating, and it's what I love about this film too, Chad, is especially as we're taking leaps and risks, and rather than fit into a mold of what someone thinks you're supposed to be or how you're supposed to navigate this, like that's how it's always been. He ends up, and what is his name again? Michimiko. He adapts his own way into this. He's like the normal, the regular clothes you would see someone typically fly fish. He's like, that doesn't resonate with me.
Exactly. Like in the film, he says, "Can you get a little funky with it? Can you get a little more design with it? And it's I like that, because it's opened up individuality, and everybody has that, and you don't have to fit the mold in order to pursue the sport. You just bring yourself into that whole space and pursue the sport and enjoy what's there. Enjoy what nature has to offer in your own way. If you want to step out in nature in a pink fur coat and alligator boots, then by all means,
go do it.
Do it. Exactly.
Go do it.
Absolutely.
When is the film screening, Chad?
Well, the film has screened yesterday at 7:00 at the Creative Arts Center, and I'm not for sure if it's going to be screening again. I think it was only one screening.
Okay.
Though. But hopefully may be able to watch it online though.
What do you want to say to everyone who's maybe, it's post-pandemic world. We are now stepping into a space where I think we need to be encouraged to take these leaps and risks. What do you want to say to everyone about why it's so important, why they are needed right now to do this more than ever?
Yeah, I think it's important of us coming together, and in order to create the good and change in the world, it's not an individual walk. It's not an I. It's togetherness of team, basically, right? You got to be able to find your tribe and align yourself with the right type of tribe in order to create that. And so we have to walk together. We also have to learn how to walk together. Especially in the political climate and what's happening, the more intense is happening in our spaces, in the wild spaces and urban spaces, is that we need to come together much more, because I really believe in the walk and the talk of Martin Luther King and how he practices the art of love, and how that is, and what that's all about is stepping up for one another and standing in for places where you may feel uncomfortable, right? And that's where you need to be. If you feel that uncomfortable, you need to be there, because we need you there, and that's what's going to help create change in the world, basically.
Ooh, I have goosebumps about. I moved from here to Brooklyn a year and a half ago, so talk about. Yeah, it's true. And it's so true. We are walking the talk. It is about community. And I so appreciate everything you're doing, Chad. And thank you so much for returning to Wild and Scenic. And thank you for telling the stories and for also walking the talk yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. You guys' support. Thank you for the invitation. It's good to be here to reconnect with folks, and I'm looking forward to being back here again.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime, Chad. We are an integrated community here at Wild and Scenic, and it is a global experience, and it's a gift that we get to bring that to everyone, whether you are experiencing it virtually online or right here in town. We are all part of this, so we appreciate you. I'm Elisa Parker. Thanks to Chad Brown, and we will be back in just a bit.